Welcome back to Retro Crazy. This is the third part in a series of videos where I'm looking at a pair of SEGA Game Gear that I bought cheap off eBay and seeing if we can get them back up and running. In part one, I demonstrated how to strip down and pull out the main board, followed by full recapping, and we tested it at the end of that and everything was working. We got it back up and running. Part 2 was showing how to strip out and recap both the power and the audio boards because the audio was very weak, and at the end of that we rebuilt and we tested and it was absolutely perfect. It was working exactly as it should be. In part 3, this is the second Game Gear. I'll strip this down, completely recap everything, and then we'll do some testing. Now, this particular one is completely dead, there's nothing, so this could be more than just the capacitors. We'll find out at the end, although I'm kind of hoping it's going to work, obviously. I'm not going to bore you with how everything's done again, so this will all be done in a fairly fast-forward, jumpy way. Once I've gone through and done the testing, we will look at costs and see exactly how much everything has cost, and see if this has been a worthwhile venture. So let's get started. I've paused the fast forwarding here because I've come across an interesting issue. The glues used to hold these particular caps on appear to be much stronger than the previous boards I've done, but also I'm finding the traces are becoming damaged. This one here lifted off completely. This one was fine. This one here is fine. These I'm not sure of. This one I think is fine, this one I believe is damaged. I am also, as I'm heating the board, getting a smell of fish. Yeah, distinct issue there when you've got a smell of fish, because that tells you that the caps are not great and are leaking. I'm not seeing any board damage, I'm not seeing any corrosion caused by the caps, but what I have done is I've gone through each of them and I've just snipped the back of them, breaking the casing so that I can actually remove these without damaging the board underneath. You can see some of the residue that's been left here, and there's also a little under here. It won't affect the board at all, that's just one of those things from the glues that they've used. They actually seem to be quite good this time. So I'll continue, and at the end I'll come back and I'll look at these areas under the microscope, and we'll look about cleaning them up and getting them sorted. Now I've had a chance to go over and recap everything, let's have a close-up look at the damage on this board. I have already cleaned up the via, and you can see here this pad is missing. It's broken off from this via, but I've cleaned up the via and I should be able to solder onto this quite easily. This pad is fine, still solid. Moving over to the other side, so here's the positive pad. This is the one I thought looked quite dodgy. It does indeed look like there is some pad there, and a lot more pad than I expected. In fact, this pad could be completely and utterly intact after all this. Let's give it a bit more of a scrape and see what we come up with. And it's looking like quite a nice pad actually. I don't see any breaks. Plenty corrosion. We'll give this another going over with IPA. This all looks fine. Let's get the last of the caps done on this side, and then we'll come over and look at how I'm going to reattach onto this via. Welcome back to the zoomed in view, where I'm going to attempt to repair this trace. And I have a contact. Excellent. And it is soldered onto the via. It's not great, but it is there. Try standing the board vertically. Take this up a bit. It is on, it's got a solder connection, and I'm moving that quite forcibly, and it seems to be fine. So we'll accept that. And we'll go and give this a clean up on the underside next. Okay, for the camera you can see somebody has been in and very badly replaced the caps on the power supply board. It just looks like dreadful soldering, which will not be helping and could be a reason why this board had no power. So I'm going to remove these caps and just resolder them back in properly. That's the power board done, nice and clean, looks as good as new. Onto the soundboard. Well, the joys of recording on 2 different days. We've got a lovely June evening, sun streaming in, as you can tell by the shadows, and that's both boards now fully capped. You can see this has been done, fully cleaned up, and all it remains is reassembly. So let's reassemble and then go for the big test. Will it work? Won't it work? Well, there we have it, back together. The question is, does it work? This is going to be the first time I find out, so let's find out together. Sonic the Hedgehog and some batteries. First of all, we'll be looking for a power light. That at least would be a step forward, telling us that the power board is working. Volume up a little. Let's find out. No power. Well, power flashes and then goes out. I did use a little deoxit on the power button and the volume button. I did get a flash from the power, but it immediately went out. So something else is going on. Luckily, I do have a known good power board. So let's drop this in, see what happens. Well, that's the power board swapped over. Let's see what happens when I flick the switch this time. I am getting power. However, I can immediately see I've got a corrupt screen and something is very wrong. Don't know if you can see that. Corrupt screen, lines across it. So it's not a very happy Game Gear. So there's something wrong with that power supply. So I'm going to have to look at that further. Which is a shame, because all the capacitors tested perfectly. Something else is causing the problem. Which is quite annoying, but hey. Well, 1 out of 2 isn't bad. And the 2 faulty ones, well, those are a project for another video. So after all that, both are done. One's working and working nicely. However, the second one, unfortunately, after the recapping, it just is not working. So that's going to be put aside with the other faulty one I've got. We'll see if we can do a more in-depth video to see if we can diagnose exactly what's wrong with these. I know the power board on this one is faulty as well, because I took the power board out of the other faulty one I had, which I knew was working, and that was popped in, but the main board itself just nothing. So what has this cost? Well, this faulty one I picked up for £10 and £5 shipping, and then it's cost me £5.90 for the cap kit I used on this, so that's £20 and 90p. Some might say wasted money, but hey, if you don't try, you'll never know. So that one to the side. However, if you happen to own one and you know its history and you know it's slowly failing, then go for it. Just add a cap kit, do some work. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but it works. This one was £10.51 plus £3.95 post and packing, and then the cap kit that I fitted to this was £5.45. So this one, in effect, to get a fully working Game Gear, was £19.91. That's the hard facts, the hard, monetary side of it. Was it worth it? Well, this one, I've already got one. You saw that, a complete boxed one in lovely condition. This one will probably just go as the display one. I mean, I can replace this or try and clean up this plastic, because you may see just how badly scratched it is. I may replace this. I may see if I can get some of the plastic renovation, do something with it. But this one can now go on display as a working one. So, it can be picked up, it can be used, and keep the really nice one still boxed and aside. The other two, well, I'll try and get them up and running, and then I'll pass them on to somebody else. Most importantly, this will now survive, hopefully, for another, 20 plus years. Nothing wrong with it, they're good fun, and that's what this is all about. So thank you for watching another Retro Crazy. If you like, please remember to subscribe, and catch you on the next one.